Denny Hamlin tweets, "We need Next Gen 2.0. Just got to figure out who's going to pay for it." After at least 1 dozen playoff drivers faced durability issues at Bristol, and he said passing was just impossible. Freddie?
Yeah.
Denny's right.
I think, well, I mean, it's hard to argue with you obviously liked the race the other night because you were in contention to win. I think that was not one of our better Bristol races.
I've seen better ones.
It was just impossible to pass, and you started running it. Listen, the issues we had, I think the blown tires were team related. You saw a lot of it was Ford. And I think
we didn't have any.
just,
I'll tell you this: we had no issues all night.
Yeah, that's a lot of.
You just showed me an issue.
I mean, you
we had
blew
no,
a right front hit a wall. I mean,
we
that's
had
a small
no
issue.
tire wear. We ran 125 laps on the first set and didn't have any sign.
And the tire's probably too gone to tell if it was a puncture or...
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
Well, we'll just call it a coincidence that all the Fords blew right fronts. But and then there was steering rack issues. Obviously Toyota had a big issue. There was 3 or 4 of them that had I know there was a seal blowing out of the rack on one of them on either the 45 or the 23. Like there was issues with that, but I heard throughout the field some other teams, Ford teams, are having issues with that as well. But I think the bigger concern is just lack of passing. Like you almost started running this race backwards, like you would a road course. Just try to get track position. You would flip a stage from 40 laps out, cycle back to the lead, and hold it. Like you won the first stage without pitting, right? I mean,
125
laps. Bell, who's one of the best cars all night, was second, 60 lap better tires. And couldn't do anything
we
with
actually,
them.
at the end of that stage, we were starting to pull away
drive
from
away again.
Yeah.
We saw this on whenever we practiced Friday. But, the guys went out there, ran 30, 40 laps, went in, let their tires cool down, went back out and went faster. And it's like, I'm like, did they put tires on or what's going on down there?
I saw somebody ran a 38 and they were running like
Bell.
50s. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
So I qualified a 15-teen, so 15-1-1 something or somewhere around there, 1-7. And during the race, like 300 laps in, I was running 15-4s and stuff.
Yeah, it's like so
qualifying laps.
You just essentially ran the race like you would a road course, where you just pit as soon as you're kind of in windows and cycle back to the lead. I was shocked that everybody pit on that last caution when Bell had his issue. Like we've seen all night that if you circle back to the lead, I mean,
I was surprised there was a caution. So.
But I thought somebody like Harvick's in a must-win. Stay out.
I wholeheartedly disagree with Denny on this. He wants a whole new car. I want 2 things: a tire that'll wear, and more motor. I mean, Kevin Harvick tweeted last week, "Give us 1,000 horsepower."
Yeah.
The problem within this race, from where I stood for the entire weekend, was how freaking fast corner speeds are. Justin, like you guys are flat out ripping the center.
Big time.
Yeah, I could do with more horsepower. I feel like at a Darlington or a New Hampshire or an auto club, places where there's a lot of tire wear, even at the end of a run, it's hard to spin the tires. I mean, it is. I mean, we just have a lot of tire and a lot of downforce and grip, and I mean, it's hard to step out. And you look at the races back in the mid 2000s. I mean, it was like they were half throttle down the straightaway at Charlotte. So, and honestly, this is a lot more horsepower than we had planned on running this year. I mean, we did
Thank
that
goodness.
Charlotte,
and
the drivers kind of came together, and we talked to NASCAR, and we were like, hey, I don't remember what they were wanting us to run, but we got way more horsepower than they were wanting. So I still think we need another step in that direction, because even at Bristol, I mean, you just drive in as hard as you can, let the thing set, and then you're just wide open.
Yeah.
And I even remember in the Xfinity car last year, you'd really have to manage your rear tires and use the throttle. So, I think we could use a lot more horsepower.
I think this is going to be a race that a lot of these teams that have been clamoring for more practice is going to circle, because you would have probably seen your tire issue. Like, there's no way you can run as many laps to show up, that tire issue to show up in whatever we run, 15, 20 minutes.
Which we had in our pre-race meeting.
But the weird thing is, in our pre-race meeting, in our lounge, everybody said guys are going to have tire problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I disagree with you there.
Because after practice, the teams take the tires to Goodyear. Goodyear cuts them apart.
Oh, yeah.
Goodyear says, hey, we don't like it. And I think the team's like, well, why don't you like it? And Goodyear said, no. Like something like that. Isn't that how it went?
Well,
Isn't that what you heard?
But I like the stopwatch. It looks great.
Well, that's the problem. They chase the speed.
There's so many variables that go into
it's risk versus reward.
Quote, tire problems, right? And when you see one team or one manufacturer having these problems across the board, it may not be the tire. It might be you.
Who's been all year long? I felt like Ford's been a little behind everybody, right? I mean, I feel like they haven't had the general speed, and then we go out there and qualify on Friday, and it's all the Stewart House guys up front. They're hauling ass, and then all of a sudden, every one of them's got a tire issue. Like that's why I think that the tire issues lend themselves more to teams versus any issues with the car itself.
I know it's probably easier to say that we probably. I don't believe we saw no indications of anything we were running. We ran 125 that first run. Brad got no tire issues. Tires look great. Keep going. Like we were we were making our deals on fuel. We weren't worried about tires.
The only reason we ever pit was because we thought maybe the right front was going to blow. Not for speed, not for fuel. We only would pit
Just to be safe.
after a while.
we were looking.
because-
We were looking to pit,
Yeah.
go keep track position the rest of the race. Like
Yeah.
we weren't pitting for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm spot off on Denny's deal though.
Points.
So we have less motor, more tire, and more downforce. Right?
Yep.
Yep.
Are you concerned how the Martinsville elimination race is going to play out based on that Bristol win?
So going to that
I'm not concerned about it at all.
going to that Martinsville test. Justin was there testing.
I was there.
We
We had a test.
Listen. All we did for 2 days was get everybody closer together.
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
already saw no passing the first race. They're making very minimal changes to the tire. I think I didn't notice really any difference at the test, and I think all you did was give everybody 2 days to make that box even smaller to where we're all even closer to the same speed. So I'm not super optimistic about putting on a great race down there.
The first race was just like he said. You go in there as hard as you can, stop it, and
Chase Elliott ran us down. We were on the tail end of the lead lap. I don't know where we were running, probably mid-teens or something. He ran us down and got behind us and followed us for like 60 laps because he couldn't get around us.
How do you feel, Justin, about all the shifting in all these places? Does it need to go away?
Yeah. I mean, I don't. I think at a mile and a half on a restart, like it's cool. You know, you can use the bottom, downshift to fourth. I think shifting every lap at Martinsville is a little aggressive. I mean, I don't know if I need to do that, but.
You're shifting because
I mean, like, but I don't know. I say that, and F1 guys. I mean, that you look at what they do on a qualifying lap with their steering wheel. They're adjusting all kinds of stuff. So it's just not. It's new. So I don't. We don't like it because it's new.
I think a lot of the guy, listening to some of Denny's comments and even Bubba, like the margin of error is a lot bigger now because you can go in the corner, blow the corner, and just downshift and drive off to where before you lost all that momentum for the whole next straightaway and the guys would have runs on you. Now it's just like, drop a gear and take off and you're good to go.
Like similar to the Coliseum, we ran second gear. Martinsville, you don't even run fifth gear.
Yeah.
You go from fourth to third. So I think.
is it because of the
Sure, I
horsepower?
guess I just did a 2-day test there, and I don't know.
Is it because of the horsepower change though? Because like you said, we went up in horsepower from where we originally were at that 590 mark up into the 675-ish mark. Like, is that what happened? Is the gear ratio was already set, and when they gave us more horsepower, it opened this window?
Well, so I believe it's already. I don't know. You guys need a crew
think
chief
that
on
they-
here. Really, honestly.
I think that they were. Oh, I think they wanted this. I think that they thought maybe this. I don't think this is a surprise.
Well, I believe we're in a box of what we can
Yeah,
do
like
with our
you can
gears.
only do so much, and then
Like I think because we use the same transaxle from the Coliseum to Daytona and Sonoma and everywhere else, so I think there's only so much we can do inside that box.
Yeah.
I think they missed a lot of marks with this car, and they need to own it, and they need to make shifts. I mean, when you look at Jerry Freeze last week, who was on Kelly's podcast, and he said all this money we thought we were going to save teams is a lie. We're spending more money than ever, which you expect to do year one because essentially
Always,
it's
yeah.
a startup business. You
Yeah.
gotta reinvent the wheel. So, but based on what he's saying in terms of his alliance with Roush Fenway, Keselowski Racing, and the way it used to be advantageous economically versus where it's at now is that's not the case, and they're spending more money than ever. He literally said, "Don't tell my owner," because he doesn't want the owner to know how much money he's spending, because obviously that's who's writing the check. So if this car isn't going to be economically justifiable, then hey, let's spend some money and fix it. I don't like the fact that we're shifting at Martinsville, but just because of how I grew up around the sport, like I'm not a fan of that.
I don't like that we can't really spin the tires off the corners at these tracks.
No, that's
That-
kind of what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Richmond. You should be able to buzz the thing, and that should be the guy that takes care of it because that creates comers and goers. You got this guy
Yeah.
that's using his stuff up but doesn't know it. I mean, look at North Wilkesboro in that late model race. Dale Jr. slid back to 9th or whatever, and then drove past him because he saved enough tire.
Now, did Dale Jr. drive past him because they let him by?
No, they were actually.
Yeah.
They
Go
actually.
ahead.
I will say
We had
those
this conversation earlier.
Those guys actually raced. I think he had
Race him hard.
I'll tell you
Oh
what.
my God.
The
Did you hear what I
14,
told
the
him?
14 did not let Dale go. I can tell you that.
No,
much.
and he come by one time and as like he passed 3 or 4 of them, his number went from 3 to 0300 because he had more donuts on the side of his car.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah.
Dale deserved that.
I like the new car.
Well, I'm not so sure he didn't inflict most
do?
of it. He was the one
Yeah.
using them up. So
It's good because they're not getting rid of it, probably.
I love it. It's fun to drive. I mean, it just needs a little work, right? I mean, it's new.
But
and
do
it's,
the work. That's what I'm saying. Do the work. 'Cause I love this car too. I thought it was cool
Yeah,
to
it's
see it
great.
at Bristol. But like you guys said, like we can't be coming off corner and you not buzz the right rear.
Yeah.
You're in a couple.
it's a new car though. I mean, there's going to be like you said, there's still things that we
you can do that in a Legends car race at Charlotte.
There's things that we can fix still that are fixable.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I
we
actually
will.
like the car.
Yeah.
I actually think the car is pretty good.
It's
Yeah.
a pretty race car.
What
Yeah.
I was trying to get out earlier is Alex Bowman and a few other drivers during the broadcast after they had their issues mentioned, a lot of the things that are going wrong with the car, they can fix. They're just not allowed to. So is that something, are you hoping or has NASCAR talked about being able to allow teams to make the changes if they go to ask for approval or?
I think you've seen a lot of those comments from guys in the Hendrick camp that dominated the season last year. And they would like to get back to dominating the season next year. So they would like to make their own parts again. And they'd like that box to open up a little bit more. And I don't think NASCAR is going to let that happen.
Joe Gibbs, Hendrick were 100% against the way,
Yeah.
to your point, this new car went because they lost control. And the Richard Childresses of the world loved the direction of where this new car went. Well, they won 3 races this year. It worked out well for them. So, no, I mean, I think Freddie's proven a great point. You're not going to see it go back to where the teams have full control in all the areas where they did. Now NASCAR has full control.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see NASCAR make changes. We saw them make a change 2 weeks ago with trying to help them fires for the Ford guys. So if there's an issue, they know there's problems. It's not a secret. They're
never gonna go away.
They're just going to have to be make changes on the fly to make things better. But they're never going to just go, all right, you know what, just like open up Pandora's box again, and you guys can do whatever the hell you want because that's exactly what we're trying to get away from.
And the other thing too is no matter how great this car was or how perfect it was, we were going to complain. Like we're race car drivers. Every single one of us is selfish and you know how we are. Like we're race car drivers and we want the best for us. So no matter what, we were always going to find, and they put themselves in that position. I mean, it's just how it is. Like,
Yeah.
But now we
it's
can
the
blame
sport.
them. Now we can blame
I
them.
just hope it's a productive offseason. I hope we don't get to January 1st and it's crickets,
Yeah.
I know you want to sell your home. Do it with our friends at OfferPad. Go get a cash offer right now at OfferPad.com.